So Article 1 is a bylaw aimed at kind of shutting down the puppy mill to pet shop pipeline. So for folks who are kind of visualizing, what that's going to target, remember the puppy store that used to be down at the Kingston Mall? That's effectively what we're targeting. So those kinds of businesses get their animals from commercial breeding facilities, often called puppy mills, and their business model is to breed as many animals as possible, mass production with little regard for the quality of the conditions or the genetic quality as well, so like inbreeding for those animals. So we're kind of looking to shut that down so that those businesses don't open here in our town. I received a call from Representative Kearney, who had just met with some members of the MSPCA, and they had mentioned that, to their frustration and to my frustration as well, that they've been trying to get a bill passed at the State House for years to ban puppy mills in Massachusetts. And I remember seeing that bill when I was an intern at the State House many years ago. So for reasons that are beyond my understanding, it hasn't passed yet. So we're kind of recircling here, hoping that if enough towns take action, that it'll create some pressure from the State House to finally act and to pass this bill. It would only affect pet stores, so responsible breeders don't sell to pet stores. So a lot of our local breeders here in town won't be affected, because when you buy an animal from a breeder, you meet with them and you see the conditions that the animals are raised and kept in. So that's the reason that breeders don't sell to pet shops, so that's why they won't be affected. So this is a preventive and proactive measure. So we don't have any pet shops here in Marshfield, but we don't ever want to have them here, and I'd hate to wait until it's too late to take action. And our other goal is to kind of make sure that we get some momentum going here on the South Shore so that enough towns, if we get this passed at town meeting, will follow suit. And then again, if enough towns take this action at the local level and enough towns get behind it, then the State House hopefully finally act and ban puppy mills in our state as a whole.
Article 2 is basically going to close a loophole that we currently have with the state law that doesn't require people with 4 or more dogs to get a kennel license. The purpose behind passing the bylaw would be to be able to obviously check to make sure that the conditions are being upheld of the people that are having these large groups of dogs, and to be able to do an annual kennel inspection at those facilities that have that amount of dogs. For the most part, when you have 4 or more dogs, you're usually in some sort of operation, whether it's a kennel or whether it's a breeding operation. Most people that just have their own pets don't have 4 or more dogs. So that's why we chose that number, and we're also following suit with what the state has already put out for those numbers. And that's kind of, I think, the synopsis of the article. Currently, with the kennel license, you don't currently have to have a kennel license. All dogs in Marshfield have to be licensed, but you do not actually have to get a kennel license. You can elect to get a kennel license currently, which some people do, but unfortunately those people that are trying to hide the conditions that their dogs are in choose not to get a kennel license, because, again, we would be doing the annual kennel inspection. The annual kennel inspection consists of just making sure that all the dogs are or animals on the premises are being housed properly, and that they have room to stand up and lie down in their cages, and that they have room to be able to move around freely, that they're all fed and watered, and that overall the conditions of where they're being kept are sanitary and good conditions. This article passing would definitely, I think it's important for our community to speak up for the animals in our town, and to make sure that they're all subject to the proper conditions and sanitation conditions that they should be living in. So I think as a community, we should all really look at this article and realize that we would be helping the animals.
In regards to Article 2, the idea of Article 2 is to keep our animals safe. Unfortunately, from time to time, not too often, but from time to time, we do have people that don't follow the rules, that are neglectful, and potentially also suffering from mental illness, who have a large number of animals. We've encountered people that have been animal hoarders, and in certain cases we've brought charges. We've had to conduct search warrants and get ourselves into those homes and rescue animals. In several occasions, upon entering the premise, we've found dead puppies and animals that have been extremely suffering from all different types of abuse. So the idea behind Article 2 is to allow us once a year to take a peek and make sure that those conditions are appropriate for animals. And it's no different from what we normally do with our barn inspections. Routinely, We do, on an average of 100 or more barn inspections every year for people that have collections of animals. And this is just another step to ensure that it's done for our domesticated animals.
Article 3 effectively would have required that anyone breeding 2 dogs in Marshfield get a sign-off from a licensed veterinarian stating that it's safe and healthy for the animals to do so. And that was targeted towards either inexperienced or unethical breeders, because folks will breed 2 dogs together that are too genetically similar, which causes a lot of issues. So that article has generated probably the most discussion of all the articles in the town meeting warrant. So because we're in the middle of a state of emergency and a pandemic, we want to streamline town meeting and finish in one night, we are going to pull that article and come back with Article 3 in the spring.